the greatest fleet the world had ever seen, crossed oceans before many European kingdoms had built true navies. Then, it disappeared. Not because it was defeated, but because an empire chose to change its course. This is the extraordinary story of the treasure fleet and the final voyage that marked the end of one of history's greatest ages of exploration. Imagine standing on the shores of China in the early 15th century. The first light of dawn paints the sea in shades of gold as hundreds of enormous wooden ships stretch beyond the horizon. Their towering masts sway gently in the morning breeze. Crimson sails rise one after another, transforming the harbor into a forest of silk and timber. Thousands of sailors hurry across the docks. Shipwrights tighten ropes thicker than a man's arm. Officials inspect cargo, while merchants carefully load priceless porcelain, shimmering silk, lacquerware, tea, and finely crafted gifts destined for distant kingdoms. At the center of it all stands Admiral Zheng Hu, one of history's greatest navigators. Under his command sails a fleet unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. Some of these treasure ships are believed to have dwarfed the vessels used by later European explorers. Around them travel hundreds of support ships carrying soldiers, translators, physicians, astronomers, craftsmen, diplomats, and enough supplies to sustain thousands of people across months at sea. These are not merely ships. They are floating cities. Their purpose is not to conquer foreign lands. Instead, they carry the prestige of the Ming Empire across the Indian Ocean, forging alliances, expanding trade, bound together by and demonstrating China's remarkable wealth,
distant cultures
craftsmanship,
across the seas.
And organization.
A golden age
for nearly
of
3
global
decades,
commerce begins.
This fleet will reshape the maritime world. Yet no one standing on these busy docks could imagine that this golden age was already approaching its final chapter. As the fleet leaves the harbor, hundreds of sails catch the wind together. The enormous ships glide across calm waters in perfect formation. Drums echo from the flagship while signal flags ripple high above the decks. Experienced navigators study the stars at night and the position of the sun by day, guiding the fleet across thousands of kilometers of open ocean with astonishing precision. Their destinations stretch far beyond China's coastline. The fleet visits the thriving ports of modern-day Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, Arabia, and the eastern coast of Africa. Every harbor offers something new. The smell of cinnamon and cloves fills the air. Bustling marketplaces overflow with colorful fabrics, carved ivory, fragrant incense, precious gemstones, and foods unfamiliar to Chinese visitors. Merchants bargain in dozens of different languages. Musicians perform in crowded squares. Children stop their games to stare in amazement as gigantic treasure ships enter the harbor. Way in the imperial court, powerful officials begin asking a dangerous question. Why spend fortunes exploring distant seas when enemies threaten the northern frontier? Everything changes. After the final voyage in 1433, imperial policy shifts dramatically. The magnificent shipyards fall silent. Ocean-going ships are left to decay. Overseas expeditions are canceled, and maritime ambitions fade from imperial priorities. Within a generation, the world's greatest fleet has vanished. Not in a storm, not in battle, but by decree. As China turns inward, other nations begin looking outward. Decades later, European explorers sail into oceans the treasure fleet had already crossed, reshaping world history in ways few could have imagined. The greatest fleet ever assembled wasn't destroyed by its enemies. It was forgotten by its own empire. Local rulers welcome the visitors with elaborate ceremonies. Diplomatic gifts are exchanged. Friendships are forged. Trade flourishes. The voyages become symbols of peace, prosperity, and international cooperation. The fleet also returns home carrying remarkable discoveries. Exotic animals, including the famous giraffe presented to the Ming court, capture the imagination of people who had never seen such creatures before. Scholars carefully record foreign customs. Cartographers improve maps. Astronomers compare knowledge with distant civilizations. Every expedition expands not only China's influence, but its understanding of the wider world. At home, the empire appears stronger than ever. Its cities thrive. Its economy flourishes. Its artisans create masterpieces admired across continents. To many observers, it seems as though this era of exploration will continue for generations. But history often changes not because of storms at sea, but because of decisions made far from the ocean.